was
do
going to
this
click
with
on
them.
any minute, and I was
And
going to be like, okay. Oh, all right. We are live. I just want to thank everybody for coming back and watching Sarita Talks because I have some awesome people and they have things to talk about too. One of them is D.W. Cole. It has been such a pleasure and a breath of fresh air to have this gentleman in my life. And I am, as a lot of people know, going to foray into home ownership soon. So I've been learning as much as I possibly can. DW has been a wealth of knowledge, and I cannot wait for him to share some of the knowledge that he was able to impart to me about real estate. So I'm going to ask him a few questions, but first, DW, please introduce yourself and tell us about you.
And also, Sarita, getting to know you, it's like a hurricane. Okay. It's not a breath of fresh air. It's a hurricane.
Here I am.
Yeah. And every place I go in town, you're there too. And so
Oh.
it's just, you've been a big help and support to me in my journey, opening a new business here in Columbia.
Absolutely, as it should be. Iron sharpens iron. And here's another thing: when you like, if somebody, you can navigate spirits sometimes. You know, you can tell who's got it going on, who cares about people, who's genuine, and keep them in the atmosphere. Do everything you can. Do everything you can to foster relationships. I had a friend one time, and she was like, "Sarita, I cannot make friends as easy as you." I said, "Because you have to get out there and make them. You can't. People aren't just going to come up and be your friend." And I'm so proud he's one of mine. DW,
Same
you want
way.
to? Yeah, awesome. So
same way.
tell us what's going on with you.
You know, I've been in sales and marketing my whole career.
Mhm.
Also got involved with my husband, Sean, into real estate investment 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Got my license a year or so later.
Mhm.
Decided to pull the trigger a couple of years ago, full-time into real estate, started my own brokerage.
Nice.
Cole Properties Realty. And now I'm bringing that into the local Columbia market here.
Yes, because let me tell you, all over there are huge problems right now just with the housing market. Would you agree?
There are.
Okay. And a lot of it has to do with interest rates?
That is correct.
Okay. So a way to kind of navigate it, what advice would you give for your first time homeowner? Is this the time to buy?
It is never a bad time to get into real estate.
Okay.
Whether buying, selling, investing, there's always an upside. There's always a downside.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad time. Part of it, what I would say for first-time home buyers or anybody that's looking to buy, yes, inventory is tight. Prices tend to be higher. It's the supply and demand.
Right, right.
Interest rates are higher now than they have been in quite a few years.
Right.
But those are going to come down. I mean, I heard yesterday that probably September we'll see maybe the first decrease, another one by the end of the year. That will be a big jump to the economy. Real estate is such a huge driver of our economy. When you think about everything associated with buying a home, moving into a home, so you got all your contractors, you've got all your retailers. There's so many people that benefit from real estate transactions.
And a lot of people don't make the correlation between getting someone to move to your town who can increase the economy, someone who is what they call skilled work. Nobody's going to move to your town if they can't find a place to live.
That's right.
Yeah. So in order to boost economy, you have to have a housing market. Are there builders now? What's going on? Because we're local here. We're in Columbia, Missouri. And I know that, annual percentage rates are nationwide, but what could really drive what you're doing and what sets you apart? Because there's something big that sets him apart. Yeah. So let's give it a little listen.
The real estate, I looked at this the other day, and Columbia, Missouri is a top 20 real estate market in the country.
Yeah.
And
wow,
that's a really great place to be. Columbia's grown really fast. For example, the average home price in Columbia right before COVID was $195. We went to $350 last month. Now, for a lot of your listeners across the country, go sign me up. I'm there.
Yeah, okay? Because that's not. Yeah.
But for Columbia, it's kind of a shock. But there's a lot of building going on, a lot of new building. It just can't. We're growing so fast.
You can't keep up.
You can't keep up.
Yeah.
And so, yes, the interest rates have slowed things down a little bit. But as soon as as soon as the interest rates come down a little bit, Columbia's market's going to heat up even more. So whether you're in Columbia or you're someplace else in the U.S., it's still not a bad time. First place, you can, as a first-time home buyer, you can get in at a higher rate. but you can always refinance a year or two later.
Absolutely. And there are programs too to help
first-time home buyers in Missouri. There's a great first-time home buyer program. And plus government loans, where it's down to, could be 1-2% down.
Okay.
So it's still, all those are still available. And lenders are waiting. They have money to lend.
Nice.
Because their business has been off.
Nice.
So don't be afraid as a first-time home buyer or anybody getting into the market.
Okay. And that is an asset, because I know your car is not an asset. Explain a little bit about that. Are you knowledgeable on how valuable having a house could be for your portfolio?
So, a home is the biggest asset that almost anybody will own in their life. They're their biggest investment.
Okay.
It also provides generational wealth.
That's a good thing.
And so that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah, but
there are whole elements in our community that have never had generational wealth because they were always locked out of the housing market.
Absolutely.
And that just perpetuates the cycle.
Or they didn't know. Let me tell you, my parents were both retired. And when I moved my mom here and was going to move my dad here, they had been renters for 22 years. So all the money that they put into that could have been building in a house. And me and my younger sister had tried to convince them, like, hey, you're not, on the poverty line, you're not anywhere, you need to be investing. But, all they could think of, and, it was that generation that was older. My mom had paid for things with cash, and all they could think about was, oh, we'll have to keep it up. And here in a rental, we don't have to worry about mowing the grass. They were getting older. However, that's generational wealth, and that's what I look forward to doing for my son is, owning a home and then, wherever and whatever happens. So that is a big thing. That is a big thing to touch on, that if you don't have any other reason, it's for those that come after you.
Yep.
Okay.
Because the reason why real estate continues to appreciate is because we're not creating new land.
Yeah.
So land is what makes it valuable. That's why the price of building or having a home on the coast are a lot higher, is because it's a limited amount of land with a lot more people fighting over the same pieces of land.
Yeah. The density.
Yes. And so all those things work together in terms of having an investment. It is so critical to think, because Sean and I, with our rental properties, we tell our tenants, save money up. And if it's part of your plan, save money up and go out and buy a home. And I'm a real estate agent, so I can help you, buy it too. And we've done that. But we tell them, they go, you realize you're paying off the mortgage. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're not getting rich on this. We've never set ours up to get for cash flow. We're getting it to build equity.
Yeah.
But anybody can do this. We know somebody in the ACA that we're members of bought his first rental property at 18.
Wow.
He's 21 and already owns 3.
Wow.
This guy is on his way to be a mogul.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And so there's never a bad time. I didn't start it until I was 50. I wish I'd started in my 20s or 30s.
Yeah, but had anyone taught you? That's another thing. You've got to be learning constantly about ways in which to secure your future. And here's the thing I really enjoy about Sarita Talks is people with good heart conditions come on and tell us it's not always about making money. Yeah, I feel like this. I do the right thing, the money will come, but it's not always about lining your pockets, because it will come. Now, this man has renters and he's telling them, I will be happy when you go, but I'm going to sell you that house too. But I'm helping. You know what I'm saying? It's a fair exchange, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Yeah. So, and you know what? No one's really imparting this knowledge to our youth. So just run through real quick what it means to be a real estate broker as opposed to a real estate agent, because there's a difference.
There is. So brokerages are basically businesses where you can buy and sell real estate through. Okay. You can do it on your own. You can hire a lawyer. There's other places, but a broker. So all the brokerages are the name of the business, and there's one broker there or several. Then they have agents. Agents cannot hold their license themselves. They have to work for a broker, because I have a higher level of training and expertise. Expertise. I have to go through. I have to have more insurance. I have to have errors and emissions. There's so many things that I have to do. Yeah. And so I have to be able to mentor and help agents along. Nice. So I hold their license. Okay. Well, tell us your contact information, because this is a good seg for how we get a hold of DW. Yes. Yeah. So I'm here locally in Columbia, Missouri. Yes. And I have a website called CPROP for You. So it's CPROP, the number 4, the letter U.com. Okay. or you can do 573-970-21. And I have to look at my card every time.
Yeah, but we should
2178. I know.
Yeah, don't give your number out.
Oh,
okay, so don't let them look at the card.
Oh, okay.
No. I don't feel like any. Just no. Okay, so it's going to be cprop4u.com. Okay. But if you want to give me your number, you can. He's really sweet. He's the sweetest. But as this economy and this need for housing is an up and down, people need to get in on the long haul, and those property values will go up.
They will go up. They will go up.
Okay, especially in this town, because I mean it's serious business here. It is very serious business. Now, do you know anything about construction loans?
A little bit.
Okay, so what questions do we aim those at? That would be more at the loan agent.
Yeah, and then the people that are in construction doing new construction, that is a whole different animal.
Yeah,
because it starts back when the land is purchased.
Nice.
A lot of times there's loans that on that, and then the first time they break ground. So the construction loans start at a different time point.
Okay. So here's my thing is, so if you're a first time home buyer and you've already, you're poised to sell that, who is going to help you? Because you do know real estate as well on the agent level.
Right.
So when you go,
I had to be an agent first. 2 years, you have to be an agent.
So when you go in with what are you looking for in your agent that you're not looking for in your broker?
Actually, I act as an agent when I work with my clients. I'm really not their broker. I'm their real estate agent. It becomes very personal. The broker just kind of runs the business, the brokerage.
Okay. So it's synergistic.
Yeah, it is very synergistic.
Okay.
You just want to find an agent that you're comfortable with, that listens more than talks. And I'm talking to myself here.
I know this man did not just say something about listening more than talking to me. Like, what was I supposed to do? Give you some type of advice? I do the same thing. Come on now. All right.
Yeah, we've been around each other enough. We can't even get a word in edgewise.
Exactly.
We have to interrupt each other to talk.
Yes. So here's it. Listen, ideally, he's going to show me a house, and I'm going to be like, da, 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 and then next thing you know, we're in the kitchen talking about what we could cook. That's how it goes. That's good people, and those are who you want in your corner.
And you just want a agent you're just comfortable with. If you're not comfortable, it's okay. Yeah. Find somebody else.
There you go.
If the agent ever gives off a bad vibe or isn't in tune to what you really want, they're all of a sudden showing you stuff that's out of your price range or not in an area you want to live in. There's so many things that agents do. They're human. They're people.
Right.
And especially when there's money involved, things can get a little dicey. So just find an agent that you like personally.
That is valuable information because my mom, she watches all these rando little shows, and there was one where it was people purchasing a home, and that same thing he was just telling us was happening to this couple. They're like, this is out of our price range, and then the woman kind of had a bad attitude. So just because you go with one real estate agent doesn't mean you have to stick with them.
You don't. Now most states, and Missouri being one of those, you have to have a buyer's agreement.
Okay,
and that basically says you are working with this agent. Nobody else can work with them at the same time. You have to, at one point, finally pick an agent.
Okay.
And they'll make you sign an agreement. Now, that agreement is just worth the piece of paper that it's on.
Wow.
It's usually for 90 days, sometimes longer. But that you can, from the buyer's standpoint, if you don't like the agent, just say, look, I'm moving on. I can't work with you. And and it's not valid anymore.
Okay.
So, and then one more point about first-time home buyers is not everybody likes to work with them, but they're not going to advertise that.
Okay? Tell us why, because I'm one of them.
Because they don't want the word out that they can't work with everybody, and at some point in their career, everybody's worked with a lot of it. First-time home buyers, I really like it because they're kind of innocent coming into it, and they do need somebody, and they usually listen really well. But there are so many pitfalls for first-time home buyers. The loan process is tougher. I've been scrambling with first-time home buyers trying to figure out. They find out because you'll get a settlement statement. You got to bring so much money to closing. Yeah, and all of a sudden they're $2,000 or $3,000 short, and it's like closing is in 3 days, and it's like we're sitting down going, okay, who can you talk to? What can you sell? What can you? And so you just have to have an empathy for. They haven't been through this before. They haven't bought multiple properties. They haven't gone from house to house or whatever. So first-time home buyers are a little unique.
Okay, so what questions, as her first-time home buyer, are you going to answer that I didn't even know I should be asking? So first, I need to be ready for closing costs. I just got that.
Yep.
Is that one of the bigger ones?
The closing costs, then that includes your down payment.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have all the ancillary as a buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got title insurance. There's all these things through the title company.
Wow.
Which those typically your side of the equation is about typically $700.
Okay.
And then you'll have your down payment on top of that. And there's just then filing fees and stuff like that. Usually I can estimate, and I estimate for first time home buyers, knowing what kind of loan you're going to get. You might have a very small down payment, or it may be a conventional loan. You're going to have to come up with 20%.
Wow.
So, but just, I would ask any prospective agent, do you work with first time home buyers? If they say no, then, then the follow-up question is, tell me about why you like working with first time home buyers. And then you're going to find out where their heart is.
Yeah. Or just lead out with, I'm a first time home buyer and I want to make sure I'm doing this right. And I'm not surprised by anything.
Yeah.
So one of the things I really feel like if we take anything away, which we took a lot away, is beware of closing costs and also be aware of the way you're treated, because everybody, especially if you're going to spend a lot of money, like if you go to a car lot and they're like, oh, a little too aggressive or forcing you into it, turn around and leave.
You just mentioned something that just makes my heart hurt.
No.
We're using heart here a lot.
Yes, I love it because we have good hearts.
When you look at lists of ethical professions, guess where real estate agents and brokers are. And you mentioned it right at the bottom next to used car salesmen. And I know some good used car salesmen that are wonderful people, and most agents are, but there's enough kind of bad apples that probably aren't the most ethical, that cut corners. There's a reason why real estate agents are at the bottom of the list.
I would have never imagined that.
Yeah, and we have to take, every 2 years, you have to go through and take an ethics course and pass it. It's part of your license. Good. So it's not like people don't know all this, but it seems like when money's involved, sometimes people throw integrity out the window.
Which is sad, very sad. DW, I want to thank you for telling us so much. There was a lot of valuable information in there. So I hope you were able to soak that up. And I really feel like a lot of it has to do with relationships. Like business is relationships. And if you don't develop a relationship with someone who's going to sell you maybe your forever home, you're missing out. Tell us how to get a hold of you and we'll let you go today.
Yeah. So once again, my name is DW Cole. I'm the broker of Cole Properties Realty in Columbia, Missouri. And my website is CPROP4U, and that's CPROP, the number 4, the letter U.com.
Okay, and once you go ahead on CPROP4U, you can get his phone number. Take